The Joe Rogan Experience.
When you're looking at all this crazy shit right now with Doge and the uncovering of USAID and this dismantling of this bizarre left-wing ecosystem that's pretty much manufactured, like what do you see is going to happen with the rest of the country?
I mean, look, there are a lot of people who did not vote for Trump. You know, he won. And yes, he won every swing state. And
half the country's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. So, and I'm not sure how many of them, I wonder how many, so I have a couple questions. How many people didn't vote for Trump and wanted to and are secretly glad he won? I bet there's a pretty significant number of those people who either didn't vote or didn't vote for him but wanted him to win anyway.
Ari says that. Ari says that New York City is like relaxed.
Yeah.
It's like everybody was relaxed after the election. Like even the liberals are like, whew.
Yeah, thank God. They're like, woo.
Yeah, like, thank you, God, you saved me from myself.
Yeah, exactly. Because God doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. Yeah, so there's that, I wonder. But then I do wonder how many of the people are, what I worry about is how much mental, this is where I get mad at the media for presenting this like, this is Hitler. We're having it notched up to 11 for the past 8 years. And now you've got this, because he was put in, it's almost like that energy has been transferred to Elon now. Because now, did you see the Elon protests? They're protesting Elon. They're literally standing out there with signs that say, arrest Elon Musk.
Listen, I guarantee it's organized. I guarantee it's organized by the same people that are going to lose a shitload of money based on all these discoveries at Doge. There's no way they're not. If you look at what Doge is uncovering, what they're uncovering with this USAID stuff, a lot of that stuff was organizing through NGOs protests. They organized the attempt at getting Trump impeached.
I thought you were going to say killed.
They organized
like,
the impeachment.
That's come out.
They also USAID spent $50 million on the lab that invented coronavirus.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of money involved in this not working. And when you have a lot of money involved, you're going to have organized protest. When you see protests, we all want to think protests like the 1960s. Yeah, fight the war, man. It's like organic, like peace, love, and hippie shit. But that's not what this is. What this is organized, funded protests where someone is spending a lot of money and they're mobilizing other NGOs. They're using their access to these mailing lists and all these different things. They're putting these things together.
Yeah, but do you think that the average liberal person, do you think that they're going to wake up and come around? Or do you think that they're going to be in like agony for 4 years and be...
What if it works? Like, what if the world gets safer, the country gets safer, the economy improves, and they don't attack civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, all these things that everybody's worried about. And then at the end of it, you realize like, hey, maybe I was wrong.
I mean, that's my question, though. Are they capable of that kind of self-reflection?
Well, we're saying they as if it's like one different, like one kind of person.
No, I mean...
There's so many different people in they.
Agreed. I mean, when I say they, I mean people who have bought into the idea that this person is going to make everything worse and we're going to slip into a fascist technocracy.
Some of them. Some of them are going to slip right into it. Some of them are going to wake up and come around. You know, it's a test. It's a test of character. It's a test of objectivity. It's a test of introspection. There's a lot of things that are going to happen where people are going to have to wonder, like, what was I rooting for? When I was rooting for this progressive liberal government, what was I actually rooting for? Was I rooting for warmongers who were making insane amounts of profit by funding overseas wars?
Yeah.
What was I rooting for? Was I rooting for a basic theft of our tax dollars that's gone to all these like completely useless endeavors that were only set up as ways to pilfer money?
Or the fall of America.
Yeah.
You know, this is a weird thing to like hate your own country so much that you want it to fall, or the dismantling of the kind of West as we know it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there is a feeling that Elon might have saved the West.
Yeah.
I feel like at least he's trying to.
I think he did. But just by buying X.
But isn't it funny that he got forced into it? I think there's like something kind of ironic.
Funny because he was trying to get it at a lower price because he knew that they were bullshitting about the amount of bots.
Well, and then they came out yesterday and now it's profitable.
Yeah.
There was like a whole article about how he turned it around.
Of course it's going to be profitable. He's smarter than you.
He is smarter. He also knows that we are all
tapped in.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't stop it. Don't you think we're all in echo chambers though? Like you said, how do you stay outside of yours?
Drugs.
Oh, that's true.
That helps a lot. No, I'm kidding. You just got to be recognized like you're thinking. You have to have a process.
What's your process? I live by the Joe Rogan school of interneting.
How's that?
I take all your advice. I don't read the comments and I post and ghost.
That's good.
I don't like get in there and.
That's good. I definitely do that. And then I think of like, what do I really think about something and why do I think about it that way? And I try to go, is it because it's self-serving? Is it because I've said it in the past and I want to be right? What is it? You know, like what makes me believe what I believe?
Yeah.
And then you have to do a deep dive and all the goddamn arguments back and forth to figure out who's right. And all the logic and the and see people ignoring certain core facts. Like this is the most fascinating thing about this U.S. aid thing to me is how people on the left are completely ignoring all the rampant, obvious corruption and conflicts of interest in the government funding non-government organizations that in turn fund the government.
Yeah.
Like, that's so crazy. And anybody that doesn't think that's crazy, it's like, what do you love money influencing everything in your daily life? Don't you think that maybe we have a problem in that we have a huge deficit? And if part of our huge deficit, we're spending fucking billions of dollars every year on horse shit?
Yeah. I mean, that is my issue with people being like, see, it is the like political thing isn't right, which is true. It's important to be accurate, but it's also like, yeah, but there's this money shouldn't be spent this way.
No.
So just because this thing is maybe not true, you're pointing to this one thing that could be people are misrepresenting, but there's a much bigger problem you seem to want to just sweep under the rug and say, oh, like you guys are just crazy for noticing all these connections. But didn't they make them stop or something? Did they freeze their ability
USA's
to?
Frozen. Yeah,
These kids are nuts. That guy who like found the scroll, how to read the scroll from
burnt
Pompeii.
scrolls from Pompeii. Yeah, using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're wizards. That's the kind of people that you want digging into this stuff. And that's why Elon got them. I mean, he knows what the fuck he's doing. It's all very strange because it's you're dealing with so many things that are happening at the same time. You have this technology that was never available before that is allowing people to freely express themselves online, right? And then you have this maniac billionaire who buys the biggest one and makes it the Wild West again. And then you have government being exposed for what it is. So you have all these fucking NGOs, this web of, we talked about it yesterday, this web of 55,000 different NGOs that were supporting all these liberal causes that were all completely intertwined. And they had to use software to find that and to figure it out.
Yeah.
So they're finding out that this is like this complicated propaganda network that existed. Like, that's not good.
No.
That's not good for anybody, left or right. Because it's money. It's just money being used in a way. Not only that, here's the thing. Like people like saying like the $10 billion, it's only $10 billion. Like that kind of shit. What about the fucking people in Maui?
Yeah.
What about, that could have been fixed with $5 billion. The government could have said, we are going to rebuild those people's homes to the exact state and even better than where they were before. It's going to cost us $5 billion. All the money that we're sending over to Ukraine, all the money that we send to Israel, all the money we send to all these different organizations that work with USAID in the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars. They could have done that. And instead of doing that, they're telling us that what we have to do is continue to fund all these programs in all these other countries that just so conveniently have a whole staff of people that's making a great wage, and their political capital is bet on all this stuff, and it all is involved with intertwined with these NGOs and all this money that they're getting. And this is the thing. We have to go and help these people. We're going to starve. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. What about America?
Yeah, and then you
have
have
like our tax dollars going into a safety net to help people from one of the worst wildfires in history.
Or North Carolina.
Yeah. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, none of those people have gotten any money in North Carolina.
No, and they're like sleeping in freaking tents in the freezing cold.
Exactly. All that could have been addressed too, the same way we address problems in other countries. So if you have this amazing slush fund that USAID is, and it's not being applied at all to the problems of America, why would you think people would support it?
Yeah.
Why would we support it with our tax dollars when we know that the country is massively in debt?
Well, and it's like I appreciate that there's so many problems. I think I do feel like for the first time ever, there is an actual transfer of power. Like every single election through my lifetime, there's been all the normal fighting between the two parties, and then the election happens and one party wins, and then nothing changes.
Yeah.
And you just keep sliding and sliding and sliding and sliding, and everybody says they're going to do something and no one does anything. And then you have fucking Elon come in like a wrecking ball, and a very motivated and Trump who seems organized this time, and they actually feel like they're making changes that, by the way, American people want.
Yeah, like the border. They fixed the border overnight.
I know.
Overnight.
The looking into there, my friend Max Meyer was saying, he's a very smart guy. He was saying no one with any numerical ability has ever looked into Medicare and Medicaid fraud ever. Like,
that's what they're cracking into next.
There's a lot of money there that is like provider side fraud, where it's just inflated.
Wasn't that Sonny Hostin's husband? Isn't he involved in a RICO lawsuit?
Oh, I don't know.
About insurance fraud?
The View person?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I have no idea.
Her husband got arrested.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's one of 200 people charged in some gigantic insurance fraud.
There's a lot of that.
What is that? What's the actual story behind that? Jamie's looking.
Jamie's on it.
He's on it.
But they can take I mean, you know how complicated it would be to try and untangle that web of where you're inflating things that people have, and you're saying this is like
Kickbacks.
A band. You see these things online where it's like a Band-Aid is $25,000. You know, like what?
Someone explained that to me too. Is that when you have a budget, say if you run an organization and it has a budget, you get money from the government, and that budget's like $80 million a year. You can't spend 60 because then you're going to get 60 next year. You have to spend all 80.
Right.
If you don't spend all 80, you don't get it. You got to say we need 90.
Right.
We're barely hanging on.
Right.
And so you have to charge
Inflation.
like $500,000 for a hammer. And that's literally how they justify their existence, is to keep they're not in the business of being frugal and and being responsible and making sure that the money is being spent competently. No, they're in the business of keeping their budget coming in. Sonny Hostin's surgeon husband Emmanuel faces solo battle in lawsuit as co-defendants agree to settle. Oh, Jesus. So, okay. Sonny Hostin's surgeon husband has found himself in the hot seat in a massive lawsuit accusing nearly 200 healthcare providers of insurance fraud. Dr. Emmanuel Hostin defiantly called himself the victim of a frivolous smear campaign last month after he was accused of providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for kickbacks in a complaint filed by American Transit Insurance Company in December. Orthopedic surgeon now finds himself increasingly isolated after the vast majority of the defendants have now offered to settle their cases.
Oh, boy.
According to a new court filing obtained by DailyMail.com, American Transit, which insures taxi company and Uber Lyft drivers, announced last Monday more than 141 of the 186 defendants named in the suit have agreed in principle to settle one of the largest RICO cases ever filed in New York. The papers filed by the law firm Manning Cass did not specify which defendants offered to settle. Dr. Hostin has until February 10 to respond to the legal complaint. So it has something to do with drives from the hospital and kickbacks from all this shit.
Yeah, it's because that's what they need, though, is these guys who can use this AI technology to get in there and start looking on a massive scale at what all of these, everything. I mean, they have to look at everything. I think most Americans want this.
So they're being accused of getting kickbacks for performing surgeries and submitting fraudulent bills.
Yeah.
Hostin knowingly provided, this is in quotes, knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The lawsuit filed on December 17th claims American Transit was then billed in exchange for kickbacks and or other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash distributions. I don't know how they know this. So I don't want to comment on this. I don't really understand what this is. This might be bullshit. It might be real. But I do know that doctors.
But this happens all the time. I mean, maybe not this, but there's provider side fraud that is very well known, and people have been called out for it.